That makes sense. As a result, she then crashes through the roof of a blockbuster. But what happened to her ship? Did it crash? Did the debris scatter around town? Would technology like that not cause everything to change for planet Earth? Speaking of which, what about the capital ship that she came from? Do you guys see this? It's been obliterated, visible from Earth's atmosphere, with pieces poised to scatter across a large portion of the planet. This would cause a potential cataclysm, changing the perception of alien life, our progression in technology, and it would have caused major damage. It's a fucking enormous ship. But nah, we can't be bothered to entertain the kind of world building that even Spider-Man Homecoming explored, even though that was just a result of the things that happened in Avengers when this is set in 1995. Either way, back to the blockbuster, Plank picks herself up only to notice a cardboard cutout of Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jamie Lee Curtis from True Lies, and she immediately shoots his head off with one of her blasts. You go, girl. Though if you haven't seen True Lies, then go watch it, it's better than this shit. Plank then goes outside and meets a security guard, and despite her having broken into and out of the store he's guarding, he waits until the following morning to call the police, for reasons. Though she also spent her whole night there creating a way to communicate with Youngledore via Radio Shack wires? Like, I think the movie's trying to say that she broke her highly advanced alien wrist communicator thing, and that she can now fix that by screwing around with a bunch of publicly available 90s Earth technology, because that's how that works. She gets the call going and tells Youngledore that she has to get to Science Lady before the Skrulls do, otherwise they could invade many galaxies. Which, wait, what? So the Skrulls want the light speed technology from this secret lab, and the Kree want to prevent them from doing so because otherwise they can reach other galaxies and spread. But I thought the whole point was that the Skrulls spread to other galaxies already. It takes the Kree 22 hours to get to Earth from the planet they first fought the Skrulls on in this film, despite the fact that they have the jumping ability. That means the Skrulls have already traveled that distance as well. And if the Skrulls are capable of it, then they must have the technology to make it to other galaxies too. Like if they just headed in one straight shot with whatever they're currently using to travel, they can invade to their heart's content once they pass the Kree border, as it's referred to in the film. So however it is that you do travel, do that, only do it for a long time and in one direction, and that should have the same effect. Either way, the moment that Youngledore tells her to do nothing and stay put, which would obviously change the course of the entire story, the communications get fuzzy, and so she decides to take matters into her own hands. Meanwhile, we see that the Skrulls have landed on Earth in daylight in order to chase down Plank, which I'm sorry, how did it take them this long to land when we saw their ship was obliterated when Plank was falling to Earth at night? Like, surely they should have landed just moments after she did, at night. Which would have been much better for the story, because now I have to wonder how the fuck they managed to infiltrate the higher-ups at S.H.I.E.L.D. before S.H.I.E.L.D. got to her at the Radio Shack. Not to mention how the Skrulls all managed to land together, and how no one thought the 4 green alien men arising from the ocean wasn't a fucking eyesore to behold, especially when they completely convert into another species altogether. Also, remember the guy in the ship that left on his own? Did he somehow land at a delayed time alongside them? Did they have some agreed portion of Earth to land on in case of the ship being exploded? Really? Or is there a random Skrull in Europe just backpacking around, living a new life? Going back to Plank, the police have arrived, and Nick Fury himself tells her she is under arrest. But before they can finish the conversation, a Skrull tries to kill Plank and misses a blast from a rifle. Plank then pursues him. This leads to an extensive chase on a train and through a tunnel, leading us to a wonderful scene in which Plank punches an old lady and then engages in acrobatics with her, and, well, they have Stan Lee playing himself reading the script for Mallrats on a train, a film in which he appeared to give the protagonist a lesson on love through his own comics, while also playing himself. This adds yet another layer to the mystery of just who Stan Lee is in the continuity of the Marvel films, but it's also a really great reference and a send-off. Plank sees Stan and he smiles, and she smiles back. During the chase, the Skrull takes the time to convert from the old lady into a completely different person and makes sure everyone on the train, including Plank, sees it. Because, what the fuck is the point of using that ability if you're gonna use it like that? The scene ends with Plank losing the Skrull, but being able to pick up a little device that fell out of the memory machine originally. And analyzing it gives her a lead on where she needs to go next. This happens right before it breaks and she can no longer use it. This is a bit convenient. But how? Well, it's convenient that she decides to go to the bar, and in the bar meets one of the only people that can help her with the name of the project, meaning that those two pieces of information were all that she needed to get to what she wants the fastest way, and they also happen to be the only two pieces of information she could even get before the thing broke. It's also convenient that of all the things this crystal could project from her memory, it projects the only two pieces of information that she specifically needed to push the plot the fastest. But it's also convenient that her wrist tech allows her to access technology from another alien race. But it's also convenient that she found the dropped crystal during the chase. But it's also convenient that the Skrull dropped that thing in the first place. But it's also convenient that she happened to be chasing the Skrull member that was holding this thing specifically. But it's also convenient that the Skrull took this crystal to begin with when his entire ship was being obliterated. But it's also convenient that at the base of this, the machine used to explore her memories happens to copy her memories over to a crystal in the first place, just so that all of this insanity can even happen in the first place. Meanwhile, Fury is attacked by a Skrull who is posing as his partner, and the car crashes, killing the Skrull. Fury then says that everyone should back away because this is S.H.I.E.L.D. business. S.H.I.E.L.D. business? But wasn't the whole point of S.H.I.E.L.D. in Iron Man 1 to have the extended version of the name, and it's all clunky, and then by the end they shave it down to a moniker because people keep complaining about it?
I'm Agent Phil Coulson with the Strategic Homeland Intervention Enforcement and Logistics Division.
That's quite a mouthful.
I know. We're working on it. Strategic Homeland Intervention Enforcement and Logistics Division.
God, you need a new name for that.
Yeah, I hear that a lot. You'll be hearing from us.
From the Strategic Homeland
Just call us S.H.I.E.L.D.
Right.
Did you guys fucking forget they weren't calling themselves S.H.I.E.L.D. before 2008 in your own timeline? Plank is then figuring out how she will get to the bar that she got from the device, and a man passes by on his motorcycle. That would be super useful to travel, but you can't steal from people, right? Well, the mean man asks her to smile for him, and she frowns, so once he goes into a store and leaves his bike behind, she decides to steal it. Wouldn't he still have the keys? How did you manage that? And I mean, ethically, is it really because he asked for a smile? You go, girl. We then find out that Fury's boss is a Skrull, played by Ben Mendelsohn. You guys remember? He played Krennic?
Die!
Well, he is present for the alien autopsy that should probably redefine science and the periodic table as we know it, and as the film points out. But this literally has no effect on the world or on the MCU, as we know. Okay, and Fury says they've just heard about a motorcycle thief that matches her description. So, Plank goes to the bar she's looking for from the memory file, and she finds Fury is already there. How the fuck did he get to the bar ahead of her if all he knew was that she stole a bike? Like, he would have the license plate, maybe, which could be found eventually, but he got to the bar before she did? What? They figure out that Fury is not a Skrull by pointing out that Skrulls will never have detailed long-term memory of the person it copies. So Fury gives her the names of some states and some stories of what he did before S.H.I.E.L.D., and she just believes him. Apparently that was detailed enough. It's not like she knows the names of the states in America, so she can't verify what he just said, and even if she could verify it, he could still be lying. So with the rules stated by the film, Fury could still be a Skrull, and Plank is just a complete idiot. Great. On the other hand, Fury wants evidence that she's not a Skrull, and she decides to destroy a jukebox. Nobody seems to care that she does that. They even showed a bar owner earlier. I guess he just doesn't mind. Like, she says she did it because Skrulls can't do it, but we already know that the Kree can't do it either, so unless you know her personally, this really doesn't matter at all, which... not only that, but Fury is not convinced by it, so what was the point of any of this? And let's not understate how horrifically bad the direction for the actors is here. It may not have